Okay, all set? All right, I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Bethel Public Utilities Commission order for Monday, September 18, 2017.
Right behind you.
Yeah, I moved it. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first order of business, public input. And I don't think we have any because you're on the agenda. Correspondence, anything late? All right. Okay, so the next order of business is approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of August 21st, 2017. Entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
I'll second.
Okay.
All right, any corrections, any comments? Corrections or comments? Hearing none. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 One extension.
That motion carries. Financials, Mr. Kozlowski is not with us today. He and Brad are at a conference for 2 days. So we'll just table a financial report for the next meeting and we'll go on to invoices. And do we have any? Actually, there is a financial report that he's left us, but
He just maybe asked me to tell you guys that the numbers in pencil were from last year. So if you're looking at the little handwritten
Okay.
numbers.
well, I think what we'll do is hang on to that so we can ask him questions at the next meeting. So moving on to invoices, I'll put a motion on the floor to approve invoices as submitted for the regular meeting of September 18th, 2017. In the amount, there are 7 items in the amount of $225,850.57. Is there a second?
Second for discussion.
Okay. So floor is open. If you have any questions?
Just real quick, is this a new meter or a replacement of an old meter?
It's a new one, to replace a 20-year-old meter.
So it's a replacement, okay.
Where?
First one. The Hawk tester.
Great. Any other questions, or are you guys ready to vote? Okay, hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstentions, and that motion carries. Director's report, Doug?
Number of things various will cover, right here, is we're making progress on seeing Hoyts Hill project complete. Various moving forward, the project schedule as the contractor provided us, the Maple Avenue well field is essentially 99% complete, just some final site cleanup work, but everything is functioning down there, everything's communicating between the well field and our new storage tank up at Eureka Reservoir. So operationally, we're in good shape. In fact, we're supplying the town with nearly 100% well water at this point, which is a great thing from a water quality standpoint. The progress that as Marius will also report on, has been significant progress in the development of the new wells in the East Swamp Aquifer area. Has been made. Last year was just completed a report that's needed to be sent up to DEEP, which is the next step in getting the town approval to move forward and develop new wells over there. So I think Marius will be reporting more in detail on that, but progress is being made, and we're looking to have a really productive winter season. We're waiting on DPH to approve our selection of our contractor for the Briar Cliff project. So that's being delayed, but it's being delayed at the Department of Health level. I'm not sure what can be going on. Maybe some vacations, some timeliness at their level. I think they were also reviewing one of the application formats that they're using internally. But the urgency behind that project was a consent order to get the water main upgraded. The consent order was dictated that we have the project complete by the 31st of this year. But because of the delay on their end, if need be, I don't think there'd be any problem or any repercussions back to the town if we, in fact, had to ask for an extension. So I don't think that we're in jeopardy at all of violating our consent order. Mm-hmm. And they've communicated that to us before. Actually, the fact that we got out of the gate, got a bid spec out, and we're progressively moving towards getting that addressed. They communicated to us before that we could actually, you know, even now push back that date. So we may be forced to do that, but right now the ball's in their court. And that's pretty much all I have to report.
Okay.
On the director's level.
All right.
I have a question.
Good call.
I&I study.
Yeah.
Are we ever going to hear from the people?
In fact, we are. Tonight, farther on the agenda, Bob.
Oh,
Fisk is
okay.
here from Rest of
I didn't even pay
Virginia.
attention here, I'm sorry.
I just snuck in there.
Okay,
And, yeah, so based on your comment, Bob will be able to answer any questions.
Okay, good.
that we have.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, hearing none. We're going to move on to new business, and the first item, Walnut Hill Church request for sewer connection. I believe that's been withdrawn.
Yeah, based on a phone call this morning I had with the engineer, that's being withdrawn from
Okay,
consideration.
all right,
The second one is a request came to my office about extending the sewer line on Payne Road. The project that was requested of me is actually outside the service area. And for our regulations, you know, I don't have the ability for our ordinance to approve it. They requested to be on tonight's agenda to speak to their specific situation, and I believe they have something prepared.
okay.
Mr. Chairman.
And I know you, Mr. DeVesta, if you would introduce yourself.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman.
He can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm gonna, you know what, I give you a Nerf ball, you just throw it at me until I get this fixed.
myself in this matter.
Yes, right. Thank you.
Okay, for the record, my name is Doug DeVesta, professional engineer, representing the applicant. We're requesting, back in July, we had requested an extension to this commission for a sewer extension from Payne Road, it's on the north corner of my sheet here, and Shelter Rock Road. This is a subdivision that was done by Mike Bazzucco back in 2007. It's all been approved and filed and all that stuff. My client purchased the property and he'd like to extend the sewer out into this property here. It's about 350 feet from the intersection to approximately to the last lot here. We've actually, you may have heard, we've actually submitted to the health department because the time frame is taken to get the meeting with you for a permit to get the building permits for the house. My client is anxious to get going on this thing. But we're asking this commission if we can extend the sewer about 300 feet to service the three lots. The sewer district ends right at the property line in here. So that's really what and obviously this will all be up on my client's expense to put the sewer in to extend it out to that point there. So that's really what we're looking for. The allocation, based on your studies, for a single-family house is 80 gallons per bedroom. I calculated it at 150 per state health code, which gives me 1,800 gallons per day for all three dwellings. But in reality, based on your numbers, is 80 gallons per bedroom is about 960 gallons per day. That is well under the allocation set for the Payne Road district or the area. I think your allocation here was 125,000 gallons per day, and we're only, if this does get approved, we're only adding, a little less than 1,000 gallons a day for this. So that's kind of what we're looking for, and that's why we're here tonight to getting any input from this commission. If you feel it's going to be acceptable, we would go through and do all the design plans, survey work, and all that stuff to bring it up to their code to meet all the PUC requirements and design criteria. So if any questions.
When did you say this was initially permitted, 2007?
2007 was approved.
It was approved by P&Z?
P&Z, correct. So it's all, maps have all been filed on land records and all that. And my client, who's with me tonight, Pete Sullivan, has started work out there. You might have driven by, I think he's done some work out there, some earth moving and things like that. So he's ready, he's really anxious to get going with this whole thing.
So the original permit, I would imagine, anticipated septic systems, right?
It did, yes.
Yeah, and you can do septic systems, but they're,
For the record, Pete Sullivan.
Hello, Pete.
hi, how are you? Well, the lots had that steep slope in the back, and they're
Yeah.
tight. And the kind of house I'm gonna build, I'd like people to be able to maybe put a swimming pool in. This will restrict that if I put the septics in.
Uh-huh.
That's one of the main reasons I'm looking for it, but, you know, again, that's up to you guys. Septic are no problem, it's all sand. So.
Okay,
And like we said, we have submitted to, we're working on the lot number 13. We've already submitted the health department for a septic approval because
Yeah.
people anxious to get going with this thing, but we can wait with the septic system in to build a house and take about another 6-8 months to build a house, whatever up there.
Yeah,
So,
right.
So but we wanted to come before the commission to see if we could get
Okay.
sewer extension.
okay. All right, guys, do you have any questions?
Yeah, the sewer line's gonna be in the town right away, in the road.
Yes, it would be, correct.
Seeing that it's
That
outside,
should be done.
In the town right away, but not in the road.
Right, it'll be in the town right away, yes, yes, yes.
well, the problem you have is this, it's gotta go into the town road if it's gonna go.
It's gotta go in the road itself.
Yep. I have no problem with other than because it's outside the sewer district, because phase 4 now, they don't want septic and sewer, right?
I'm sorry, say that?
Phase 4 doesn't want sewer, phase 4.
Yeah,
anticipate,
right, right.
So what are we gonna do with all the allocation? I mean, basically, the
Yeah.
allocation was for the small lots. so
Right.
People could be able to put pools and do whatever they want. Now that most of it's all being used up, I mean,
Right.
right?
Right,
I have no problem with the extension of it, but I do have a problem. It's our sewer line. It should go in the road. We just did the same thing on Taylor Avenue. Remember, they wanted to run the sewer in the right of way
in
instead
the
of the
right
road?
way, right,
And
right,
now we're adamant about putting it in the road?
right.
Yeah, if we get approval, it's gotta go in the road.
Yeah, and we can't get any more lots out of this. I mean, this is the maxed out at 3 lots. So we can't get, if you get new, we can't get any more lots out there. So-
Yeah.
so-
I
so-
understand.
Is this the old sand gravel?
Yes.
Yeah, it used to be, that was in the zero subdivision, I believe,
Correct,
right?
correct, yes.
All right, I think what we have to do is take this under advisement for today and analyze our regs and the ordinances that pertain to this, because it is outside the sewer district. There are some regs that pertain, that give us some guidance as to how far outside you can go under certain conditions. You know, this is, we saw this for the first time this morning, and we really haven't had time to do that research. And of course, our town attorney really can't offer an opinion on this, so I think what I would like to do is refer this to Public Works and Planning and Zoning for a review. And I know they've already approved it. It's really just to our internal review of our regs and ordinances, just to make sure that we know which way we are allowed to go with this. So before I table that, do you have any other questions anybody has?
Just so the applicant know that, you know, we did a few years back, you know, put a moratorium on anything outside the district, so no, this is definitely outside the district, so.
Okay, I didn't know.
But we did make some rules or
Right.
that,
In health
in
situations?
health
Yes,
situations, that you could extend it to a house outside, so this is a little bit more than that, so that Marty's gonna have to research that.
Or somebody?
Or we need to
somebody else,
change the
yeah.
regulations again.
Yeah, yeah, this might require, if we wanted to do this, this might require us to adjust our regs, which is but at least we could give you some information ahead of time, so
That's
you
what we
can.
want to know. We want some kind of direction, which way we should go
Sure,
with this whole thing.
sure,
Yeah.
right.
Otherwise, we're sitting in limbo, and Pete wants to get moving, get
Sure.
things going, so.
Well, I see no reason why we can't have a recommendation on this in 2 weeks at our next meeting, because we're on a 2-week schedule, is that, so that, I don't think
Acceptable.
World would.
Well, it's
do
not
that.
gonna hold you up. 'Cause now you can go ahead and.
'Cause you have lots to do anyway,
because you
right?
got possible septic, but then the other way.
All right. Okay, good. All right, well, thank you very much. If there's no further questions, I'll make a motion to refer this to Public Works for further study and recommendation.
And the town attorney.
Well, I think,
Well, that's-
Marty, are you gonna have to farm that out to somebody?
If you need an opinion, yeah.
Okay, all right. So, yeah, we'll just say to refer to legal counsel, and figure, because Chuck might be able to do that. All right,
Very good.
Doug, can I just, one question, how far is the town right away off of the road there?
16 to 22.
Get my scale up. So the roadway is along there, so you're looking at it probably
One end is 16,
16
and the
up,
other is 22.
20, yeah, so 16 down here and 22 up in the top.
Really?
Yeah, so it's pretty wide there.
Yeah, so a lot, that's why.
That section is scheduled for paving too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, so timing is good. All right, so we have, did anybody second that?
I'll second it.
Okay. All right, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Okay, we will get back to you.
Thank you.
We'll work on this and give you guys an answer. Thank you for coming in. Okay, old business, PUC capital project status. Marius, you're up.
Thank you. So just going to go to the handout that I have. So the first project, Hoyt Water Booster Station construction. Zanalis provided a schedule which was attached to my handout. So based on the schedule, they're going to be planning a startup last week of October 22nd through 28th. And actually what I've asked them to do is to basically send me weekly updates, what they're going to be doing on a weekly basis. We went in today and talked to the crew, supervisor, superintendent, and he's very positive that, they're going to meet that schedule. Well, that's where the startup is. So soon after that, the pump station will be turned over. So, by next month, this time, we should be doing startup.
Well, I think you should tell them it has to start up
Yeah.
by then, because there's no more delays.
Right.
Isn't there a penalty in the contract for
Yes,
for delays?
Damages, the town chooses to exercise that, option. But there was, like I said last time, there was no issue, the water's flowing. I think I've seen them really try to, pick up the speed and ready to get, we have a lot of people out there working and, they send the schedule over and I talked to them, make sure when you give us your schedule, we're not gonna give you any more extensions, so this gotta be it. You can't be really, asking for additional time. So we're gonna start to stay on top of them and, help them out, try to meet that schedule, basically moving forward and then any issues, so.
What about the perimeter, the trees and all that? What's the status on that?
So we met on the site, it was maybe a month ago, we met on the site with Richard Sullivan, basically they proposed a change order, the change order was approved, they're gonna be cutting those trees very soon. All the trees around the perimeter will be cut down.
The ones in the properties adjacent?
Yes, also the big willows are gonna be,
Yeah, is that gonna be our expense or?
Yes.
It is, okay.
That was,
And the ones behind
yeah,
also?
all the way around the whole thing will be taken down.
To our benefit that they.
Yeah, I understand that,
So that's already been scheduled and they're gonna move forward on that.
All right, and is the iron ready inside for,
Well, they're gonna be starting sheetrock this week, they're already working on the pump room, down
Yeah.
below.
yeah,
The sheetrock's supposed to start today, they didn't start today, but they're gonna be starting this week, then once the sheetrock is up inside, they're gonna be putting all the electrical panels and all the equipment inside that electrical room, so.
Okay.
are they gonna meet the deadline on the contract or what?
No, they already passed the deadline on the contract, yeah.
So we have a right to, we have the
yeah,
right,
yeah. That's,
The problem you have with these contractors, it's not our job to bend over backwards for them. They bid it, it's their time to get it done. Now, to build that building, Free Carpenters could have built the thing in 3 days. I framed it, come on. They were there for a month.
yeah.
I mean, how can we bend over backwards? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And how can you bend the rules? The rules are the rules. I mean, come on, it's not a big project.
Right,
Tight project, but not a big one, right?
right?
Do you have any sense of what are the challenges? What's gone wrong over there?
Well, initially, the challenges were was really, we already had a wet spring, they already had to do a lot of concrete demolition work, and that was really, most of the work was really to try to get the old station out.
Yeah.
Demolish a lot of the concrete, it's like a pit, and, you got the water coming down, the spring coming down the hill. So it was very wet, rainy spring, and when you get the concrete done in time, then when you get the concrete done, then you have to wait for cure before you can start the building.
Okay.
So it's just a wave of, weather delays, and we see that in other projects as well. There's other projects that got delayed and we see because of the weather, you can't, they could work with the concrete, but, if they're working in the weather, the concrete might be bad and, they have a good product out of it, so.
Yeah.
Not to dwell on this, but wouldn't you think the contract would have a stipulation in there due to weather conditions and stuff like that up front?
Yeah.
Huh?
Marius,
Well, if
what,
the deadline is the deadline and it's inclement weather season, wouldn't you think there'd be a disclaimer in there saying, anticipate that?
If I was a contractor, I'd
You would
put that
make sure
in,
to
yeah.
cross the Ts and dot the Is?
Sure.
one question, cleaning of the tank, is
It was
that,
done already.
It was done,
all
okay.
Yep. They did it in one day, it was. all
Really?
done, So they're gonna be basically.
a lot of
starting
sludge,
to pipe it.
was there a lot of?
Yeah, there was, I wasn't there for that, but they, the big trucks and they took the sludge out and, they did it in one day. So it wasn't a lot of sludge because they did it in one day, but they They don't have to stay there longer, when we're afraid they're gonna have
No,
to stay longer.
was it steamed out?
No, it was just vacuumed out, It was
Okay.
just, sucked out, I think they used those squeegees inside to get into one room and just sucked it out, and then they sprayed it out with the water and,
Did they have to sanitize it?
yes. Prior to-
Was that part of the contract or
Yes.
was that an extra?
That's part of the contract, yeah.
There was no, didn't come out of the contingency, was that included?
That's included, yeah.
The cleaning of the tank came out of the contingency,
Contingency.
because that wasn't,
That
the
wasn't
muck,
included.
the muck that was in the bottom of the
Right.
tank. But the cleaning of the tank, the sanitizing was in the contract.
Was in it, but not mucking the tank?
Yeah.
How come that wasn't, I don't understand, why
Well,
would,
the tank gets cleaned, by the time, every 2-3 years, and, we did inspect it, and, the inspection shows the tank really wasn't that dirty. It was, 1/8 of the sediment on the bottom, so we just didn't have it included.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
Okay, so the next project, Briarcliff Meadow Booster Station design. So again, Doug already talked about it, we're waiting for the final approval from the DPH to award it to True Blue. I talked to them last week, it should be coming, this week or next week. And then we can, schedule a contract signing with True Blue Environmental to get that project going. Additional groundwater supplies, Birchville field work. We submitted a final report to Connecticut DEP and DPH. Basically, the report outlined the plan for testing the groundwater, measuring the stream flow, doing pumping. Our plan is to really meet with DEP and DPH to basically get the blessing on the plan, to make sure that we can go ahead and install the new wells and start pumping. That's going to be approved, so that meeting, Greg Smith, our hydrogeologist, is going to try to schedule that within the next 2 to 3 weeks with the state to get their approval. Once this is approved, then we're going to actually mobilize and start drilling some new wells over there for testing. Beach Street water main replacement. Talked to Burris Construction today. They're going to be back on site this week to finish up the work. I think one of the items after the sidewalk, they have to kind of correct the stream bed, the stones, so they're going to fix it up this week. Also, there's a sign that's leaning a little bit. They're going to fix that up as well. And they're also going to put the proper plantings per day from wetlands.
oh, okay,
So they're going to get that done.
right.
I'm gonna let you, Kelly, know when they're gonna be there to do that work. The next item is, back in January, we applied with the Connecticut DPH SRF funding for some of the projects. Some of the projects are ongoing, some of the projects you know about. Briarcliff Pump Station construction, that's on the fundable list. It looks like it's gonna get funded for loan and grant money. The Chestnut Ridge stormwater storage tank, that was also approved, actually received a lot of points. I think we received 50 points. When I look at the project from last year, because there was a project that had 70 points, so 50 points is pretty high out there. So it's most likely gonna get funded for that project. We also had a project for SCADA upgrade, so this is basically for the SCADA communication, so it's basically for all the water pump stations, to make sure you have all the alarms, and they can talk to each other, and that the town can understand what's going on at all the stations. We also applied for water main replacement projects. I got some points. Again, I'm gonna verify which projects, we have the funding for and communicate to Rich.
Yeah.
And get them on the agenda there. And then also the new East Swamp well field, that's a carryover from last year. Again, the funding for this project already exists. Again, this is for construction, this is for the new well field that we're working on right now. There was a public hearing in October that I believe Beck has been going to every year now for the last 2 years to kind of talk on behalf of the town to basically, for these projects, to provide support for these projects, so get on the funding list and the town can move forward and get these projects done.
Okay,
So
good.
that's it.
Okay, in regards to the water main project, this piece of 4-inch cast iron was taken out of Prospect Street. They ran up 8-inch from the church, or
Well, where it ended.
where it ended, so now you got 8-inch up through there to that hydrant.
We're 8 inches right to the hydrant.
Right.
And then it's cut and capped on, the ramp, where the ramp is.
Where the ramp is.
Right,
All right.
right.
Now, that road's gonna be repaved
Next year.
next year?
Well, this fiscal year, I'm sorry. So.
Well, yeah,
sorry,
well,
but we
but it's gonna be
wanted to
next year, because you're gonna let the road settle in the winter.
To be actually, yeah.
Right, so it'll be in the springtime, in this fiscal year. I would like us to finish that main from where you left off to where you ended up capping it. So you got all new main through there. Because you have existing probably 300 feet of,
Yeah, a little more than that, but yeah,
All right.
I think it's about 10
I mean,
services.
if you're gonna repave the road, you might as well have the rest of the water main in place. Wouldn't you agree?
I would, I don't know of any problems they had with the main. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of tuberculation in there. I don't think it will ever be extended for the simple reason that you have that ramp there.
Right.
If something ever happened, that little branch line there, we would just go back to the main right on Greenwood, cut and cap it, and that's it. I mean, there's, the closest valve is up at the top of the ramp. If we ever had to dig through there, plus I think from what Bobby told me, that's state property right there, I just don't think it's ever gonna be extended. All that is on the well side right now. It would be your preference. I think there's other areas that might be a little more important than that. I mean, I understand that main's real old, but I don't know of any breaks or anything on that. You know,
I don't know.
that would be the PUC.
You know, I just see the condition of this pipe and I can't, you know, leave pipe in the ground like that. If we're gonna repave the road,
Yeah.
now's the time to do it. And that's, I prepared a list, I've given it to Meredith to look it over, and it's all the old 4-inch main stuff. One of the sections, and he's gonna get us the list of mains he's proposing, Malilla Avenue and Whitlock, there's no fire hydrants on those roads.
No.
And that's 4-inch pipe also. So that would be one of the water main areas I would like to see corrected right away. So we need to look at your list, what you're proposing. And then I had laid out, like a 5-year program of lines. So if you can incorporate that into your list and get back to our list, because I like to keep it in the screw all the time. If we finish a project, we got another one in line for work and for funding. So.
You know what, if I just want to add one thing real quick and then I'll pick up. Why don't we submit your list as correspondence, so it's in the record, and we can put it on the next agenda too. Right. So if you give Kathy or pass that out to the guys, and we'll give Kathy a copy.
I did a little homework and I went through one of the old plans that had all the water mains marked, what size they were.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry, Kelly, go ahead.
The only thing, Rich, I know you're aware, but that's a dead end in there too.
What?
That never tied into 53.
Well,
I mean, maybe
yeah.
time to do it.
Well, on my list is replacing 53 eventually.
Yeah, that's about 1,100 feet of 4-inch.
Yeah. So I mean and then they all could be tied together after,
Sure.
But I was going through, as I mentioned, I went through the plans and saw wherever there was 4-inch pipe, and figured we need to replace it. Drove through the areas. And happened to notice there's no fire hydrants on 2 of those streets.
There's one, but I understand.
Now, Malilla Avenue. No,
Well, 4-inch pipe with a fire hydrant, you're not gonna get a lot of water
Oh,
on
I
it.
hear you. No, I understand.
I think instead of, when you find that, it should be replaced, it should be fixed. Malilla Avenue, there is no hydrants,
Yeah.
That was a year it opened.
There's one.
because we had a house fire, which was Ethel Montesi's house, and we had to lay from the bottom up to Whitlock and come across.
There's one there, but it's
It's
actually.
done nothing. But what I'm saying to you is,
There's a hydrant there.
I understand that, but we got a lot of hydrants all over the place that don't work up there, right? But I'm just saying, with that one, you could loop it right back to Cherry Lane.
Yeah. That's pretty amazing.
And that's a brand new main. You're gonna have some water there.
In my handout, in the 5 or 6 year plan that I was looking at, we would be replacing the main feeders from the reservoirs. The one from Eureka was put in 1879 and 1947. The 1947 one is
Is that the
a
second?
cement, asbestos cement pipe. And the one from Chestnut was installed, that was the 16-inch main that came down. That was installed in 1909. So we have some old pipe in the ground too.
Sure do. Okay,
Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you, Mayor.
all right. So this is thank you for doing this. This is a great list.
Well, when I saw that, and
Yeah.
there's some things we need to get moving on to.
So to Mary's one other question, to Richie's point here, using his list, some of those roads I think you had on your schedule, right?
That's right. But it's- yeah.
So
Yeah.
for the ones that are not eligible for funding, we should probably try to isolate an estimate of what the cost factor is so we can plug it into the capital plan.
Right, it just, so we have a
Yeah.
rolling list of projects to do.
Okay.
All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item number 2, Weston and Sampson. So floor is yours, sir.
Sure. Hello again, Bob Tedeschi with Weston Sampson. Just give you an update over this last time I was here in June. After our meeting in June, we submitted the final II report to the town, to Doug and Kelly. We met in July. We went over the report. We had a couple changes. We talked about what are the next steps coming out of that report. And one of the next steps was to develop an annual capital improvement plan to tackle the rest of, like a 5-year plan of CCTV or smoke testing in the targeted areas that we identified in the report. After the meeting, we submitted the report to the state DEP. That was for the end of July. And that was to Ms. Chu. And we also, in August, we submitted a proposal to develop the capital improvement plan. There was a proposal, it was for, the dollar value was $10,000 for this plan, and it was to come up with, I said, the annual budget of what needs to be done, when, and how to spread it out. We also evaluated where we were financially on the project, and we were $20,000 under budget. So with this proposal, what it really does is reallocate funds from one part of the project to another. We're not asking for additional funds. It's just, we do need to get permission to move funds from one unused portion to another, and that's what this does. And then we'll need to get DEP to approve that as well. So if that's acceptable, we'll submit that to the state, get it approved. And that would be the next step. So that in a nutshell.
What do you have a report on what your study found?
Yes, that was submitted.
That was okay.
That was submitted in July.
Right.
Doug and Kelly, you have a copy of that.
Yep.
With the mapping, and that report, it's a GBC bound report with a 3-ring binder, all the appendices, all the results, and an executive summary in the front.
Yeah, I remember that being handed out.
And we talked about the executive summary, the findings, but the actual physical report is we have, Doug has that, right?
Yep.
Electronically and hard copy, I believe, and right.
So the work that's now that Weston Sampson proposing to do is take that report and as a document is highly technical, and all the answers to the questions that we're all asking, where is it, what can be done, need to be extracted and put into a kind of like what Richie's done, to a 5-10-year plan, where we can actually vote on and allocate monies to actually look at this stuff. And each one of their findings requires some degree of understanding in terms of what the return on investment actually is. We could spend a lot of money in the next phase chasing after things that really don't provide as much feedback or payback at the end of the day. I think that was one of the things that Bob's capital project plan that he's proposing now would help us do, is to actually get a list of items that we could actually discuss one by one, whereas the report hit on a bunch of things, but really didn't provide us any real marching orders per se. It just presented, hey, we found a certain percentage of infiltration over here, but the capital improvement plan is about something that we could actually sit down and then put money to it over the next 5 to 10 years. That's kind of where things are at.
So the $10,000 report that you're proposing, it creates an action plan out of that, a
That's
capital
exactly
plan?
what it is the capital.
Okay,
And it's already prepaid according to you, since we have to just move
Right.
funds.
The state approved the,
Okay.
a dollar fund, we were $20,000 under that fund, because it's time materials, we didn't use all the funds.
Yeah.
But
But let me just ask this question, this is where I'm confused a little bit. In other words, you're gonna present to us year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, as far as a proposal, what needs to be done specifically to an area.
correct,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. And then along with that will be the associated anticipated costs.
Correct. So for example, what we've done to date is we've identified the 3 areas. There were 9, 12, and 15.
Right,
Some
right,
areas-
yeah, I remember those on the map.
So now we will look at infiltration and inflow. For example, we will do CCTV of the lines in the spring to look for infiltration. And we'll see of those 3 areas. And we can say, what is that gonna cost? Well, if we can do it in 1 year, we do it in 10 years. Probably wanna spread it out. There's no reason to do it all at once, because you wanna target where you find the biggest
Right.
problems first. Because at some point, you want to, okay, this is far enough. It's not worth chasing anymore. So we'll do a capital plan that does these investigative, tells you what we're gonna do, what each investigation is gonna cost, and why you're doing it, and what you're hoping to find, how much infiltration you're gonna try to get out of it. And it'll be prioritized so that at some point, like I said, at some point, you're not chasing every little leak in the system. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Well, we know the big areas downtown here.
Exactly. So you start with those. As part of one of the first things was what came out of this study was during the smoke testing there was some direct inflows, and one was fixed already. One was a manhole that had a direct inflow. That's been fixed by staff. That was a pretty significant leak. But there's other covers that are leaky that could be fixed, relatively simple. And that could be that'll be year 1. Let's take care of those things. You know those. And, like for
So the $10,000 is just for more investigation. You're fine tuning what you've already done.
it's prioritizing, coming up with a schedule, coming up with costs to do the different tasks to find specific. So what was found is these are problem areas. We don't know which
But
pipe segment we.
So you're going to investigate those areas
Yeah.
more thoroughly.
We'll set up a game plan to do that.
And then you're gonna put a cost estimate, after you find out, the trunk line is leaking, you're gonna put a budget together for what it would cost to fix that trunk line.
Yeah, so for example, this would be the game plan to say CCTV area 9, just to pick an example, that's one, and we do that in one season or 2 seasons, depending on how big it is, and what it's gonna cost. So we do that, and we find, we'll prioritize, which now it's pipe segment by pipe segment, not just the whole area. So then we'll prioritize where are the biggest leaks, and then we can come up, once you do that investigation, we'll come up with costs to make the fixes as the next phase.
Okay.
And then the next phase is to fix it. So it's
Okay.
like,
You know what
analyze, find it, fix
Right.
it.
What I'd like to see, so I think we're going to have to put this off till the next meeting, is I'd like to see a written proposal that
Yeah.
outlines exactly what you propose to do, and assign that cost to it, and then we'll, review it, and then we'll take action on it.
Okay.
So if you can submit that to us, submit that to Doug, and we'll put it on the next agenda. Does that sound good to you guys?
Yeah, because it seems to me if we already know the areas, well, why are we spending $10,000 just to already tell us the areas we know?
Well,
No, he's gonna go into those areas now and do more detail.
He's only making the proposal to go into those areas.
well,
The
Yeah,
10,000 doesn't get you any of the investigation, correct?
it's to come up with a game plan on how to.
It's right, it does not do any investigation.
Right.
Right.
It's to come up with the cost to do this.
It brings it to the,
It's just to come up with the cost, you're not doing any
it gives you the
additional
bat,
work.
that's all it
In the
gives you, it
field.
doesn't give you the ball.
Work,
Yeah.
we're not CCTV,
So
that's a lot, yeah.
all right, so out of the 10,000 that you're proposing to do for the future work, is there inspections of that pipelines? Or is
No, that's.
You're not cameraing any of those lines out of that
No,
part of the, okay. all right.
those are big numbers, that are
All right.
gonna be spread out over many years. Yeah.
All right, okay.
So it's a come with a plan.
Okay. Well, turn that into a formal proposal, and we'll take action on it.
know an area that's a problem, just,
Okay?
there's been in
All right.
that area.
Any other questions for Bob?
Not at this point.
All right, hearing none? Anything?
Well, there was just other, Bob may have other business to talk to towards the funding side.
Yeah, so.
Oh, okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yes, please.
You want-
So, this project is funded through the DEP.
Yeah,
There's some administrative things we need to act upon for the loan, or for the grant.
okay,
One is a funding resolution, just simply authorizing the director to enter into the agreement with the state.
okay.
If you want, you can do that now, or you can do it.
You know, just for future reference, we really have to have those things in writing ahead of time so that the town attorney can review it. Any kind of resolutions, any formal things like that. So, you know, I apologize that we can't take action on it now, but if you can get the language to us, we'll get it on the agenda.
Yeah, I think Bob just bring it forward with, so in the future, the detailed proposal for the work proposed, and also
Yeah.
the funding of the forms.
Yeah.
He's just speaking to the mechanism that, some of the things that we need to do, so.
It doesn't have to happen tonight, no.
Okay, all right.
Just, there's a
You're
couple more things we need to do.
You're giving us a heads up on it.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, what's the current percentage, and how does that look at?
It's a 55-45 grant, so
Exactly.
paying
So
half of it.
There's some
Yeah.
great savings there.
Okay, good, excellent.
What I'd really like to see is how we go out 5 years from now, an action plan.
Yeah, right, that's what this is, a 5-year action plan. If
Perfect.
you spend X amount of dollars per year, you will get this much II removed. And then,
And identifying the most problematic areas,
exactly, start with the,
downtown area.
right, exactly.
Okay.
And then that by default will tell you when to stop. Because
Yeah.
it's not gonna be worth spending $100,000 to find 1 gallon a minute, for example. So it's
Right.
going to-
It's an ROI thing.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, all right, great. Any other questions for Bob? All right, hearing none, thank you. Item number 3, the FOG, the FOG RFP. Do we have enough acronyms today? Do you have that?
That's out on the street for bidding. When's the due date? October 4th. October 4th is the opening date. I
Okay,
think we've had one package picked up so far. And hoping to get some more people
Okay.
interested in that project, but that's moving forward.
okay. Item number 4, water and sewer regs. Do we have?
Anything back from anyone to look it over? I mean, is everyone good with it? I mean, can we put it in place?
Yeah, actually, I thought if you had no other input, we were just gonna get a final draft to review, because I have no further input.
Yeah.
That, I put out a final draft last month. Right?
Oh, okay, so, all right, so we've had no further, okay.
Did we settle up on fines and fees?
No.
That's what,
That's what
because
we gotta do
that was the
That's
most
all part
crucial
of it.
thing I remember, last meeting.
Yeah.
And what you provided here to us in red right now, that was just a suggestion?
That was what I found on record,
Yes.
Okay,
what was in red. That was, I think, set up by Andrew, but everything in red, there are all the changes. Everything's still in black in the wording of the policy and procedures. I mean, really, all we have to do is say there's a schedule. You know, we can move this forward,
Yeah,
but the only thing is we need to put money in with the different schedules, so what we're gonna charge.
okay,
yeah, because that was sort of left midair here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna put numbers to it. I mean, you know, and the only thing I can say is after hours. I think a minimum of $50 an hour at a minimum of 3 hours, because that's what the union contract says. The union contract says 3 hours minimum if they have to come out at night, if there's any sort of billing to be done. So I'm just saying time and a half. I'm not taking into play anything else. I'm taking $50 an hour, a minimum of 150.
But that, I have a problem with that. That doesn't cover their benefits. Their hourly rate is their hourly rate, but their benefits and everything else included is more than $50 an hour. We should get compensation for that. They're going to get $50 an hour, we're losing money because we got, vacation, all that. Baker's more than $70 an hour.
Probably 60% on top of it.
Yeah, you gotta throw that on the top.
Okay, well, just.
No, I'm not being argumentative, but I'm just saying.
$210 a person. per
You know,
service
if it's $70, you're talking 3 hours, it's $210,
call. That's
right?
the point, yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. I mean, that's what we're paying them. Your hourly rate, but your benefits and everything included is all part of it. Right?
Well, one could make the argument that when the guys get called out at night, we're paying the overtime rate.
Yeah.
So, but that doesn't increase what we're already paying for the benefits, because
I
that's
understand
level.
that, I understand that, but they're getting a minimum of 3 hours to go out there to do it.
Yeah,
That's all I'm saying. So, it doesn't make it, we can set any price we want. There's no, we can have to say 50, you can say 70, who cares? It
yeah.
is what it is.
Kelly, do you have any comparisons on what other public
I was
systems
just gonna ask that.
charge?
I don't have anything now. I can find out what Aquarian charges and what have you.
Okay.
I mean, the old company I was with was 2 hour minimum.
Okay,
Plus travel time.
Shut offs for non-payment.
yeah,
We used to go out at night, and that was a 2 hour minimum per person if we had to turn the water on.
right.
But we don't go out at night. We only do the 7 to 3 o'clock or 7 to 3:30.
What do
We
you-
don't go out at night.
What do you charge for marking curb boxes?
We don't charge anything as part of our
Well,
job.
Aquarian charges $87 while mark a curb box.
Who does?
Aquarian. Contractor wants to know what a curb box is, they'll go out and mark it, it's $87.
Well,
I'm
know
just
you guys-
saying.
I know you guys had told me that, but I think that's part of our job through Quality Free Day.
I understand, but all I'm trying to tell you is that's what, if you compare what other towns are doing, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Because that's why a lot of these other towns, Aquarian owns 3 or 4, how many towns are they involved in? All I'm trying to say is we're not trying to hurt people, but if I go out on overtime, I get money to get paid overtime. I don't get the same rate as I get normally. If I go out on a service call, it's more than that. Service call is included, you know what I'm saying? It's on top of it, that's all I'm saying.
Well, it's whatever the commission wants to put a figure on it.
Yeah.
I mean, It's not my place. My feeling is during the day, usually we only mark out per boxes 99% of the time during the day, during regular working hours.
Right.
So I never really thought about putting a fee to something like that.
I think one way to look at it, Kelly, is if you just made the list of things you think we should be charging for,
All right,
then we can apply
the
a
cost.
rate to it.
Yeah, and the only time I see a list is part of the list would be if someone calls and says, I got a pipe broken in my cellar, I need to have the curb box shut off. You know, those are the ones that you're gonna bring them out on.
Right,
But for during the day, marking out a service,
well, yeah,
that's our job.
right.
No, but there's other things that are listed. I mean, this list is gonna be greater than one thing,
Oh, yeah.
and so I'm saying.
I think you have to make a list.
Create
so
the
we
list
can
that
see it.
says,
Say that again?
we charge X number of dollars to do, or we charge to do this, whatever it is.
On things that.
Make that list.
Okay.
5, 6, 10 things, whatever it comes out to.
All right.
Then the
Okay.
commission can beat about what we want to do as far as fees for it.
Yeah.
Because in a way, I agree, we're not making a profit on it.
No.
But it's not just time and a half, because you do pay Social Security, you do pay Medicare. I don't know if it rolls into their pension over time, I presume
No.
it does.
Over-
So all of
over-
those things ultimately factor into the cost.
Yeah,
You got the vehicle,
And
you
then
got the gas,
vehicle, yeah.
you got the gas, the vehicle, that's all part of it.
And also with a 3 hour minimum, you're gonna be raping John Q. Puddle.
That's not the purpose of raping it, you're going out as an emergency, it's no different than we get called out on an emergency.
Well,
You know, they don't take any prisoners out
I don't
there.
wanna set the fee.
No, I
No,
agree.
I'm just saying, let us,
Provide us a list and we'll set the fees. That's just like when you had here, we discussed cross-connection inspection and testing. I think we discussed maybe $100 per device. But, you know, I think we have to firm this up.
Right, I think
That's
you
all.
make that list and then
We'll firm it up,
put the dollars in.
yeah.
All right, so you'll submit a list and these guys will,
I will.
okay, thank you.
So I got a question about backflows.
Yeah.
Do you only do the large ones for, you know, the irrigation and sprinkler systems, or do you actually go into the building and do the small ones, the half inch and 3/4
See what
too?
he tells you.
No, not really the small stuff like that.
I'm sure you
Like
have
going
to tell
into
me
the
50
schools,
bucks.
I get like the list, you know, it may be the senior center here. You get into Vanderbilt, all their backflow devices. You get into the high school or the school system, you're doing all their backflow devices. There's 183, or something like that, 183 or 185 units that need to be done. A lot of that is, you know, your sprinkler systems, they need to be done.
I'm just
I don't see how you can do it.
doing it, for instance, that in the healthcare
Do them in a year.
facility that I worked at, all the mop rooms had backflow preventers that we had to have inspected.
Yeah,
And if it fails,
So what I'm getting at, you guys don't go into those
not into the small stuff.
closets.
No.
Full-time job.
Okay. All right, moving, well, you're still up, Kelly, your supervisor's report?
Yep, on the sewer side, put on my eyes here. Sewer side, Berkshire Station, all the controls have been updated in the boxes. Berkshire Station is not antiquated anymore, it's actually up to the present. And then also the solid waste, at the same time, we had Berkshire's, Stony Hill 1 and Stony Hill 2 pumped down. That's one at the firehouse and the one at the old La Fortuna. There were solids in there, and they had to be sucked down. There's really, you know, you can't, at this point, there weren't a lot of gloves, so you can't say it's just healthcare or what have you. There are solids in there. Paul Street, the grinders have come in. They're at Kovacs now. They're getting ready to go. The electrician is working on them now. He's been down there drilling the holes and putting in the two new control panels at Paul Street. I expect to see that in the next couple weeks. On the water side, we started flushing last Tuesday on the Chestnut Ridge side. We've got everything done from the pump station, the South Street pump station, up to Nashville Extension where it goes into the woods, and up the two side streets on the upper end of Nashville. We're basically, everything from south at Nashville toward Reading is done. The only problem that we have had is when we get flushing, there's no water going up to Stony Hill. So it's pulling that flow going up there. So what it's doing is putting the Stony Hill pump, the Spring Hill pump.
Spring Hill, yeah.
Into fall. So we've had complaints from people at the top of Spring Hill not having water. We get discolored water complaints, but we really, this has made quite a difference. We hit the TTHMs for both of the locations at Little Thinkers and out at St. Mary's Church. We're like under 5, which we were up over 80. So it shows that we're using the majority of well water. I've kind of suspended anything we do until this tank is done at Spring Hill, because these people are going nuts when we shut their water, when they lose water. So we've suspended that until we have storage up there. So once we have storage up there and the people up there can run off the tank, the 40,000 gallon tank in the back, they won't be losing water. So, like I said, we've suspended that. We had talked about trying to do the hydrant at the end of Reservoir, of that new hydrant up by the tank, so we can pull a little more well water into there. But we're the biggest side is getting rid of all that reservoir water out of Chestnut Ridge side. Prospect Street is complete. The 8-inch main up to the top. There's a new hydrant at the top there. It's been cut and capped from the Chestnut Ridge side. So the water that they have there is well water coming out of the reservoir. Out of the wells. We've got we're only using between 20 and 30,000 gallons of water a day out of Chestnut Ridge, and I have a feeling that come wintertime, when the usage goes down, Chestnut Ridge probably isn't even gonna be coming on. Grandview Boulevard, I live on Grandview, the avenue there. We located the 2-inch galvanized. We found which ones we feel are still hooked into that. And then up at the top of the hill, where it's tied in to the 8-inch transite, and there's a couple homes up there that are tied in. It's about 11 services. So we're in the process in the next couple of weeks getting those flipped over. And basically that's it in a nutshell.
Have we flushed Golden Hill yet?
Where's that?
Golden Hill, have we flushed any hydrants up at Golden Hill?
Golden Hill.
Golden Hill? By Hickok?
Behind Main Street?
No, because that's on the well side. We haven't gotten into any of that at all yet. We've just been.
The reason why I'm saying that, because 2 weeks ago, they had a dryer fire up there, they laid a 4-inch line in, they pulled rocks out of the 4-inch.
No, that's
I mean, 'cause-
circulation.
Yeah,
That's used circulation in the main, and once it gets reversed or moving, all those little pieces you find in that 4-inch pipe start coming off.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's why, yeah, so.
Any broken
That's why you flush.
hydrants when you're flushing that you couldn't?
Not on the Chestnut side.
Okay.
No.
And my other question is, their streetscape, they're fixing it.
I've already been in contact with Eileen Earl about that, and she's got Tommy Kane doing all that.
Right.
For some reason, she got that project. So talking to Tommy's guys, what we're gonna, when he gets to that point, which is right about there, he's gonna remove all the bricks and put them on a pallet, because he has to do the tree right next to that
Right.
hydrant by English truck. At that time, we're gonna pull that one out and put a new one in.
Okay,
About 4 years ago, we tried to unscrew that hydrant, because I had screw-in ones to put back in, and it wouldn't budge. It was welded shut, basically rusted shut. So the only thing to do there is just to put a new hydrant. And we don't even know whether it's a 4-inch branch or a 6-inch branch, but we will adapt it at that time, no matter what.
okay.
Okay.
The fence out there by La Fortuna, somebody drove through with a car?
Yeah.
Who's that, is that insurance claim, huh?
It's $2,200 to repair it. The only thing we can do, we're gonna make some changes on the gate, make the gate a little bigger. I've been in touch too with Silvestri, who did it, who put it in years ago. It's on the schedule to be done. We've already got a check back from the homeowner there.
Yeah, because it looks bad out there.
What is it, somebody drove into the fence?
Oh, yeah.
I haven't been out there.
And they came the other way. You would expect.
No, they came in from Newtown.
Yeah, from
Yeah.
the Newtown side.
Drove into it,
I
yeah.
have no idea what happened, but
Wow,
they got paid for it.
That takes talent.
Yeah.
You haven't been out that way?
Not lately.
Go look at the hot dog stand, they just clear cut that whole lot. Did you see it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I saw that, but I didn't notice the fence that got hit.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right.
All right, I've got 2 other hydrants. The Sigmore, by where the dominoes just went in.
Oh, yeah. That's on the 4-inch line. That should probably be cut and capped. You got the Sycamore, you got the one on the corner of Reservoir, and you got one in the middle of Farnham Hill. Farnham Hill is on a 4-inch main. That's
The one on the top of the hill?
right at the top of the hill, yeah.
Okay,
It's 4-inch up to the hydrant, and then 6-inch going down the back of the diamond.
4-inch coming off of Greenwood, going up that way?
Great engineering.
great. Anything else, Kelly?
Oh, God.
Okay, all right, great. Thank you very much. So we got some things coming up in the next agenda. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
So you want to do this?
Thank you. Where did you say that came from?
Prospect.
Prospect? Oh, yeah. How old do you suppose that is?
1925, I think.
Wow.
Oh, you know what strange about that one? We cut and capped it.
We,
Yeah, you know what?